What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tony Ortiz here, back again on another This Week in Brave Exvius. We're here on November 23rd, 2022, and we've got a big one for you today. This is probably the second biggest show we've done, outside of only maybe this year's anniversary show. And it's kind of weird because we're coming in on a basically dead do nothing week full of units that are completely useless and unfortunately are from my favorite mainline game. But we'll talk about them a bit. But we also kind of have to talk about what's coming tomorrow, just because it's such a big deal. And, I think that there's a lot of people out there that are super hyped for it. And I mean, I get that. I'm not saying I'm not hyped. But I definitely want to make sure that we keep ourselves on the level head here and make sure that we use our ability to evaluate like what's positive, what's negative, and keep them in perspective. You never want to get bait and switched or taken advantage of. So you got to make sure that you stay reasonable with everything. And I think that where the event that's going to happen tomorrow is what a lot of us have been waiting for months and months. I think it does fall short of what I would expect out of a biggest event of the year outside of the anniversary. So like second biggest event of the year. Um, and I have a lot of experience with this, having pulled on Xenogears in February of this year. And I will bring all that to um, to the discussion a little bit later. But let's just go ahead and talk about this week, because that's what this show is supposed to do. So we had FF6 return, which is should be a great cause for celebration. Unfortunately, both of the units are got no buffs whatsoever, and the NVA unit same thing. So we had Sabin and Edgar come back. Now I really don't know why Gumi chose to give Sabin and Edgar NVs when they already both had NVAs. Or not Gumi, I'm sorry, Alum, the company that does all the Japanese stuff. When they could have picked units that don't even have, like an awakening yet. There's a bunch of them. They could have done Mog, Umaro, Setzer, very popular characters. They did do Gao's an NVA, who doesn't really bring much of anything, but he has a really, really good Super Trustmaster award. So that's actually kind of what you want to see. You want to see the NVAs from a 3-star base or a 4-star base have really good equipment that you can use multiples of, because you could have tons of those units laying around, and that's such a great way to get some use out of them. Or you want them to be like Golbez, like where they give you so much utility that they're always an option. So it's really great, especially having the perspective of somebody who started a from scratch account within the last few months, just like as a side account, just as an experiment. That Facebook issue happened. I switched my thing. I watched some other players start alt accounts. I'm like, oh, that looks like fun. I have a second device. Let me just mess around. I play with it once a day for about 20 to 30 minutes, for the most part, maximum. And let me tell you, having a 3-star, 4-star base NVA that's really, really good, like Golbez, is it's awesome. There's like really nothing else in the game that kind of compares, because it's way easier to get shards for those, or fragments, I guess I should say, fragment shards, whatever you want to call them. And to get those and get them on a unit to like EX2 or 3 readily available is really what you need to get going. It really is. I mean, the biggest bottleneck I think on a new account is the lack of fragments. Um, you'll get a bunch of pulls right away to work with, but without the fragments, and with only 1 to 2 fragments a day for your fragment dungeon, getting the EX2 is going to be very, very difficult. You have no VIP coins. If you don't spend any money, you won't have any coins on a banner to pull on. And so on. They give you a bunch of lapis right away, but being able to save it for the right time is very difficult. Um, Anniversary was a good time to jump in, but not such a great time to jump in if you couldn't spend any money. Like just the base amount of lapis you get to start with, it maybe like completed like 1 or 2 banners for you that were good. Same thing right now with Nier. Like if you start right now, I'm sure you can get like 36 from just starting a new account, but you're either going to get an A2 or a 2B, and then that's it. And then you have no shards, no nothing for them afterwards, and that's very difficult to get in trials right away and start clearing them and so on and so forth, right? So you really have to grind hard on a new account for it to really actually get leveled up quickly. You got to clear the story, you got to go farm a bunch of the big of the essences and the crisps and all that to get your skills leveled up, and gold, and it's really rough. You're very resource strapped when you start a new account, no matter if you get a bunch of NVs pulled or not. So it's really awkward that they took two units that they already had NVAs for and then gave them new NVs when they hadn't done the same thing for the rest of the game. So like I know Final Fantasy 4 or 6 has a lot of characters in it, but I would have at least liked to see like an NV, I don't know, Setzer or whoever. Like Gogo's not even in the game. Like Gogo would have been cool. Now Gogo might be a character that's not owned by Square Enix, but I'm pretty sure in every like remake and remaster, Gogo's in it. So like I don't know why that's a problem. Um, yeah, I don't know why Gogo's not in the game. Put in Gogo. Put an NV Gogo in that's not even in the game, and then NV any of the other characters that's only sitting around at 7-star max. I would love to see a new Setzer. Setzer's amazing. And then you could have done that for the next banner. You could have done like two more units that were stuck at like Realm and Strago or something. Or you could have Realm is really good actually. I think Realm would be a prime NVA candidate, and then you could have done like an NV Setzer or Amaro or whatever, or Mog. Mog would have been good. Mog's actually a really prime candidate for NVA as well. And then once you get all the cast NV level, then you can make new versions of Cyan or Sabin or whatever, right? So even that aside, if you're going to do that, if you're going to make these just like super versions of these units, you really got to push them. And JP didn't push them at all, and we got no buffs. So they're here 6 months after they came out on JP with no buffs. They're effectively useless. They don't even have good gear, which is sad. The best piece of gear is off of Gao. So this is my favorite mainline game. These are two of my maybe 5 favorite characters in the game. Yeah, I think for me it goes Celeste, Cyan, Go, and then these two probably. It just sucks. I'd like to have these. I'd like to play with them, but they are basically unusable. So anyway, we talked about Gao a bit as well. I don't know why, and you know what's weird is even Edgar's NVA was pretty good when it came. It was very usable. Sabin's was almost completely unusable, and this Sabin is worse than this Edgar and the NVA Sabin. I don't know why Sabin is so hated by Alim and Gumi. I don't know what he did to piss them off. He's a super fan favorite. The suplex the train meme is everywhere, yet he gets literally nothing in this game. Absolutely nothing. So I don't know. It's a weird one. I don't get it. We also didn't get any buffs for Locke or Terra, which we didn't. We should have gotten. Terra was good for a long time. She's still okay. She's she can clear a lot of old trials for you. Locke never really got his time to shine. He kind of was screwed over by Venera existing in Global. Again, I don't know why we skip these updates. It's so weird how we skip, but we're getting Garbana's updates tomorrow, 3 months too late. It's so weird. They give units updates in JP that won't make them equivalent to global power for the most part. So not only does Gumi not upgrade the upgrades, but they skip them to 3 months later when those upgrades the regular upgrades that they would have given are power crept even harder than they would have been if we got them on day one, because upgrades are not going to make that unit the best in class. They're just going to put it maybe close to getting into one of your teams or something. So they're power corrupted from there, and then they also don't even bother to give them to us until after the events are all gone. So you can't even get an upgrade when you could actually get event point bonuses or whatever drop bonuses from the units that you could take to events. It's mind-blowing. I don't understand it. I do understand it. I have a theory. I think I've talked about it before. I think there's a lot less people working on this game than we think that there are, or the community thinks that there are. I think they have less programmers and less developers than you think. And I think that they like to keep this game as profitable as possible, and they're not willing to spend, a few extra $100,000 a year on salaries for people that are quality, that are going to come in and be able to not only get this stuff into the Gumi version of the game properly, but also get it staged for translation and so on and so forth. It's just weird because a lot of this stuff could be fixed by just tweaking some numbers, and I don't see how that's so difficult. Get the title card, change the text on the number, and then change the number in the code, and then you're done. I don't know. Gooby fumbles again. That's what I've written down here. So there you go. Let's take a look at the stuff that they added in, content-wise. Let's see. We got a World Ripped Apart, which is just another farming event. This is just King Mog without King Mog. Instead of going to King Mog, you go to the little summon box, just like you would in a raid, and you click this button and you open the stuff. I think there was 4 sets of boxes to open. As you can see, I'm already past it. You got all these different things, some upgradable stuff. I don't even know if I've crafted any of it yet. I'd have to go look. But, you get some fragments and, some skill coins. You get a couple of Moogles, an Omni Prism, and all that. The free Gao Prism is cool. I only had 1 Gao laying around because I didn't know to save them 6 months ago. But what I'll probably end up doing is, depending how good the pulls go tomorrow, I'll throw a couple tickets, trying to spike a few Gaos so that I can make a couple extra of the STMR. Highly recommend doing that. But yeah, pretty much bog standard. You can only take Final Fantasy 6 units to this. Basically, the easiest way to clear this without having anything new whatsoever is to just... I'm not going to actually throw this. Let's see what I have here. Is this team? You just basically, if you don't have Cyan at EX2, you just bring him anyway. And it just takes you a couple extra turns. You just have to run some LB fill. But both Celeste and Shadow have LB fill. And basically, you put any of the 85 break materials on Shadow. You break in LB with Celeste. Again, if you don't have EX2 with Celeste, it's not a problem. Again, you just bring her and then, use LB fill, while you have Shadow tanking this stuff for you, or her. It doesn't matter, either one. You have them tank with evade and resist and whatever. And you then just, once you have Cyan's LB filled, you just go ahead and chain Ice Chaos Wave with these guys and send Cyan's LB. He one taps all the stuff. He will, if you have him at EX2 and you have Earthbreaker, he will 2-tap the harder version of this. So there's a harder version, power. So this is the same fight exactly, but it's powered up. The scale goes up higher. And in this one, it's the same exact thing. You are required to bring Final Fantasy. You're not actually required to bring all Final Fantasy units to the regular farming version, but you get the EP bonus and the drop bonus, right, if you bring them. So, but yeah, like with this party, Cyan 2-taps this if you chain it perfectly, and you have the LB on turn 1, Earthbreaker on turn 1, and then he does like 70% ish, almost 70% of the thing's health in the first turn. Then you go second turn, you use LB fill on these 2 jabronis, you get him another LB, you throw it again, and it's over. If you got to go deeper than that, you just got to make sure they've got some better tanking gear on, and then, you're basically doing the same thing. You're using both of their LB fill. You're getting him his LB, and he's just crushing it. There's some other budget ways to do this. I'll leave you to go and search on YouTube for those and the Discord. It's pretty simple. And, you get a bunch of stuff, good stuff for this. And then there's a little exploration. Mine says new because they reset everything. They kind of had like these daily quests that were going on that they weren't populating properly, so they reset all that in the hotfix. But yeah, this is the house that's on fire in what's the name of the village? Starts with like an A, I think. No, wait. So when you go into the second world, it's the one all the way to the north before you go to the next part of the continent across the little bridgey there. Basically, you walk into the solo Celeste and Sabin's holding it up. He's holding the house up from getting collapsed, and you walk in there, you save the kid, and you come out. So basically, what that has is it's just the exploration. There's a bunch of treasure chests. You walk in there, you open it up, you go down to the bottom, you talk to the little thingy, and then you walk back up to the top, and you're done. And that's it. That's all that is for this week. Raid from last week. Dark Visions. Yeah. My ult did have some issues with these. If you don't have Final Fantasy 6 units that are going to work in this fight, this last fight here, this Power to Unite, it might be a little bit tougher for you. Just remember that Realm 7-star is pretty good. Kefka 7-star is fine. You can probably get all the way to do everything but the last stage. The last stage you might struggle with. But yeah, nothing like super terrible if you miss it. All right. So, that's pretty much all that happened this week. Let's talk about Nier. I have 2 whole sets of notes on this. So I reviewed the live stream on Sunday. My initial thoughts were much better, but that's because I misinterpreted a bunch of the information that was given. It has been confirmed that they're both premium units. 2B and A2 are both premium units. They do both have morale skills, of course, because we're getting a clash. I think that was pretty much a foregone conclusion, but just in case you didn't know, that is, confirmed. And these are both premium units, so they are both going to be 60k to pity. As someone who had to pity both units on Xenogears, this is very discouraging. I mean, I know I have a ton of Lapis and I saved. Woe is me, right? But I want to see the community enjoy this game. I want to see new players get drawn into the game. I want to see them rewarded for sticking around. So, like, if you came in on Anniversary this year when it was the perfect time to come in, you really haven't gotten rewarded for sticking around. And I think Chizuru was pretty good. Sakiko was pretty decent. It will remain to be seen how poorly she might get crept out. Like, this does have these are light units though, so that's actually really bodes really well for her, because they're probably going to let light be an element that we can attack for the next month or two. So you'll probably get your full months out of Sakiko, full 6 months out of Sakiko. So she's probably a pretty good pull looking back. I gambled on that she wasn't. I pulled one off banner, so I'm not like super punished on that, but. Yeah, I think the ball's been dropped quite a bit since Anniversary though, and even then, like, we didn't know that Wilk wasn't going to be very good at the time, and now that we have that data, it kind of hurts. I don't think there's a unit in the game that needs buffs more than Wilk actually to justify like his price tag at the time when he came out, and to like what he actually gives to your party. The overall actual contribution that he gives to you. His card's amazing, but like that's it. he's in cog tier. He's like forever benched, but your card's really good. Yeah. So, and then the upgraded. What's up, John? The upgraded sword was confirmed to be one-handed and not two-handed, which they screwed up during the stream and then recorrected themselves towards the end. Me skipping around, I didn't see that, so I found that out when I watched some of the guys talk about it on Monday night, actually, when I watched, because Sunday I watched the stream back, and then Monday I watched some of the guys talk about it. So that's unfortunate. So there's an upgraded piece of gear that you'll never touch because it's one-hander. We don't even technically have the full dual wield meta back in JP. We're going to get dual wield back in JP, but we're kind of like in this place where the only thing in JP that's actually happened for dual wield meta is that the new units have these huge bonuses that make dual wield viable, like right there with double hand. And that's only been like 2 or 3 sets of units that have come out that like have that. They're not going back and like changing something with dual wield weapons to make them viable, right? So dual wield meta coming back, it might, by the time we get dual wield meta back, this upgraded sword will probably be completely useless. And I mean, if you have your upgraded one-handers from Dark Visions, you definitely won't use it. So like, we're not going to get anything really out of that either. So yeah, double premium. I'm not excited about that. I was really hoping for one premium, one not, like a Esther Sylvie situation. Um, at least it looks like both of these units are going to be very good on arrival, whereas Id was dead on arrival and Graf was very, very narrow when it comes to usage. Like he was an imbuable finisher, which was really good, but he also, if you needed to finish like 2 or 3 turns in a row, like say we do with some SLB units right now, like Olive or Golbez getting his MP refilled, or even Chizuru, if you can refill her LB, you can finish a couple turns in a row. Graf literally can't do that without Roka EX3. That's the only way he could finish 2 turns in a row. So like even at the time, he was very, very limited in what he could do in certain fights. Most fights he obliterated, and he was imbuable, which is cool. It was also locked to fire with crappy damage. Now, Id's definitely going to get buffs when Xenogears comes back around. Graf might get buffs. We'll see. But those were double 60k pulls, and they annihilated all the shards. Like there was no way to get shards, which is what really sucked. So I'll give this positive note for the double 60k. The coins in the coin shop already have their shards listed. We don't know, or fragments. We don't know how many. We don't know if it's gonna be 5 each or whatever. There might be 2 coins pulled or whatever. I'll get to that in a second. Whether or not you should pull, because the answer is gonna be different depending on like what kind of account you have. But let me just finish talking about like what they're actually giving us with the positives, compared to the other banner that's like this. There's going to be their fragments are going to be in the coin shop. So if you do go up to pity, the coins you get, you're going to be able to get fragments with them. They are going to also have fragments in the VIP shop. So if you have VIP coins laying around, you'll be able to buy them with those. They are premium though, so they'll be double the cost, just like Jekt and Titus were. That being said, should you pull on this banner? If you can afford it, it's a resounding yes. So they're not locked to one element. They have light and lightning. But it sucks that they don't have more than 2 elements. You want at least 3 to really like have a good coverage, because there's 3 elements on a Clash of Will, so especially on a morale unit. Or you want it to be a damage dealer that's imbuable, or a support that has an imbue, or more than one imbue that like covers multiple elements. That's really good. But there's a 36k step up that they show down here. I think here it is right here. Now you don't get any coins or tickets on this, but at the end, the last step at the 8k step out of 36k, you're guaranteed to get a 2B or an A2. That's good enough. Now they didn't have anything like this with Xenogears. Okay, so like everybody, if you have 36k, you need to pull on this and get one or the other. You're not really going to get a better deal in this. There's also, you're going to get some guaranteed NVs in here. There's a decent percentage. It's not anywhere near where 1 in 4 people should be expecting to hit another one out of here. But you definitely want to pull this for sure. Whether or not you want to step up and grab the other one that you don't get, or if you want to run and get more copies, it really depends on how much Lapis you have. It's very debatable, but you're gonna have a couple weeks to kind of like sit back and see what happens. And John brings up a good point, which I was gonna bring up as well. You are gonna get daily free summons. Now it's only a 0.5%, for each unit on those summons. So keep that in mind. You only have a 1% chance of pulling, the featured unit on those. So odds are, even at 10 rolls a day for 210 summons total for 21 days, you're not going to pull another one on your daily summons. But you could get lucky and do so. And if you do, that means you might want to hold off on doing one of these. But, I mean, you want a second copy no matter what, because their gear is pretty good. And it's not even like, their actual TMRs that anybody can use are really good. So, like, you're going to want a second copy. So I definitely would do this one. If you have 36k, do this for sure. You get like 100% STMR out of here. You get 10 Cactuars to get that either one to level 130 for free. You get 3 more crystals. This is a pretty decent deal. I would have been a lot less pissed off at Xenogears if this existed in Xenogears. But these two, it's tough. Now, if you have like almost 200k lapis like I do sitting around and you've been saving for this, you may as well try to get EX2 of both of them and get the buffs off. The only thing that worries me though again is that they both want to use light more than lightning. They have lightning in their kits, but I don't know if they're going to be good enough to crack a lightning team because Sylvie exists. So the problem is when you're going to use a lightning an element that Sylvie covers, you might just be better off bringing units that are imbuable and just bringing Sylvie. Um, Here's the thing, man. There's no way to know until tomorrow. We don't have the full kit, so like if you could kind of like scroll down here and you scroll through the news, you can see every time they put these new units up, you get like an idea of what their gear is. They show you a couple of the abilities, but we don't know the full kit of what abilities they're going to have. We don't know the modifiers. Like this ability right here, this featured ability, reduce light resistance. We don't know by how much. If this is 150, holy crap, But if this is 135, that already exists in the game, right? So we're not going to know till tomorrow. But if you come back next Wednesday for this week in Brave Exvius, I'll be able to tell you then because we'll have the units in our hands, right? The data mine will be complete. The damage calculations will get done. And then, we'll know, what's going on for sure. We'll know how good the light damage is, how not good their lightning damage is, and so on. But, like, I just wanted to point out that lightning being their second element is actually not that great because Sylvie already covers that. Full imbue, imperil, scaling LB buff damage and all that, with all the other things she brings. So any unit that's going to use lightning or earth is already going to be very difficult to justify bringing them in those lightning or earth fights because Sylvie can just give them all the imbuable units, like the best lightning and earth that you can pretty much give. Earth is going to be especially tough when you add in Sakiko and her ability to also create a field. Her main element being earth, so her earth and apparel is as good as her apparel field. She can also imbue it as well. It's going to be very tough for lightning and earth units until that support is either power crept or like the lightning and earth units imbue themselves harder than she does. So I would have really liked to see the light element be accompanied by anything not light and earth, honestly. But that's what they picked. So lightning does make the most sense because they're robots. Or does it? I mean, I don't know. They should be weak to it, I guess. I've never played the games. I've only watched a couple reviews. I'll probably buy and play them someday. I don't know what elements would have made sense here, but I don't know. It's unfortunate. Now, one thing that they're bringing back is the let's find out what do they do here. Where's Esther? Yeah, so they're bringing back Sylvie and Esther. Now, I wanted to cover this because I have EX3 of both. Oh, hey, we're getting into that point right now. I think this is, let's do the math here, 7, 12, 17, 22, 28. So for 28k, you get to pull this banner, and at the end you get an exchange ticket for the gear. The old gear shop, actually, at the end, which is interesting. So this is the one that had Black Submarine, Spectral Fields Forever, and all you need is strength in it. All three of those materia are super, super good. And if you don't have a Sylvie, I would definitely say if you have the Lapis, go ahead and grab this as well. Because Sylvie is just not going anywhere for a while. She's got three killer coverage, 2 element coverage. She's got some of the best. She has the best resist buffs. She has status immunity buffs. She has really good morale defense Magnus. She has a Magnus that entrusts. So if you need to burst 2 turns in a row with an LB burster, she's got your back. Esther, her damage is starting to fall off a bit. And another big problem with Esther is that she's kind of anti the meta right now because one of her abilities, I can't remember if it's her Limit Break or her Magnus, but one of the 2 things in her normal rotation actually clears all the fields off of the battlefield. And the meta right now is strongly weighted towards putting up an imperil field for the enemy that you're fighting. and Sylvie, or I'm sorry, and Esther then will clear that away. So like Sakiko and some of these other, um, units that put up fields. Esther kind of non-bows or is anti-synergy with them, but Sylvie is definitely worth it. So if you can spare the lapis to go through this banner and you didn't get any of this gear, I would definitely recommend doing this one. And then picking either all you need is strength or one of the two killer materials, whatever you need more. I mean, if you've been playing for a long time, you skipped all you need is strength, and you have no problem getting people to max LB, max double hand. Um, probably go for spectral fields forever. I would probably guess because it's got like plan and reaper on it. But Black Submarine has aquatic, so both of the killer materials have one that's really rare. Plant and aquatic are probably the two hardest to get in the game. But we do have plant killer off of the 12 types if you can kill it. I haven't even beaten it myself yet, but all you need is strength is not a bad pick. So I actually might pull this if this shop is fully replenished, because I bought all three of those items. If this shop is fully replenished and not just giving you an extra ticket, I might actually pull this and get a second copy of Spectral Fields or Black Submarine, actually. Um, or I might even get a second copy of All You Need is Strength, actually. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I definitely, if you have the lapis to spare, do this one, get the gear if you're a newer account. I really wish my alt account had enough to do both this 36k one the one or the other, and this, because I don't have a Sylvia on my alt account, so like I don't know if there would be any way to get that much lapis before this pops. But what I might do on my alt account is actually wait to pull the 36k 2B or A2 banner, and then just like use all my tickets and my free pulls and everything. And then if I get lucky to spike one or the other or both, then I'm just going to come here and get a Sylvie, because Sylvie's amazing. So yeah, I would definitely go ahead. This gives you, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tickets. So if you do these 6 steps, you get 6 tickets, and then you'll only have to do 2 more laps of this. Actually, you don't even have to do your free, but it's free. So you do 2 more laps of this. This will get you 10 tickets, and then Sylvie should be 10 tickets to trade in. So this is what? So this is 28, and then another 9. So this is 40. So 40k gets you a Sylvie guaranteed, and it gets you a really good piece of gear. You get a bunch of VIP coins. You get a bunch of coins to buy her fragments with. You get some guaranteed NVs. Yeah, I mean, if you had a new account right now, and you had 76,000 lapis or more, my recommendation to you would be pull the 2B or A2 guaranteed banner, pull this 28k banner, and then pull the 2 extra steps to get yourself a guaranteed Sylvie. Now, if in the process you hit a bunch of all this stuff that I just talked about, A2, 2B, or Sylvie, then you can just stop, right? And then you can do fragment dungeons or whatever else after that. But you definitely want to go ahead and that's my recommendation. We'll talk more about it next week as well once we have the Nier units in our hands. But there's a couple other things I just want to go over real quickly. I wanted to compare these directly again to the Xenogears banners. I did that already, but one last thing about the Xenogear banners as well is that there was no buffs on any of the gear that came from any of the side units. So as you can see here, you can pull 9S, Eve, and 210. There are also going to be the old 2B and A2 available in the coin shop. So I think like 1 coin each, or maybe whatever, you can see them right here. So you'll be able to pull each of these old units and get their TMRs and STMRs as well. So if you're a completionist, keep an eye out for that. Also, 2B, I can't remember if it's 2B or 210, or maybe it's both of them actually, have a really useful item that like is still used today in some weird quirky fights. So pay attention for those, and make sure you grab a couple copies of those as well. Xenogears had the Guardian of Shivat materia from Maria was pretty decent, because back then we didn't have a whole lot of LB fill. Also, Graph and id both came with stuff that had really good LB fill, and I mean LB fill percentage, not LB fill amount. We've always had decent LB fill amount, but we didn't have very good percentage. Like we had like Moodmaker, the materia, for 200%, and that was like it for decent LB fill percent for a while. Xenogears came with like 2 materia, well, one material, one hat, and one chest piece that were all okay. But I definitely think the spread of like gear you can get off of these extra units is much much better than Xenogears as well. And the shops are way better. So like the shop here is so much better than the Xenogears shop was. Um, and I want to say that it's a vast improvement on that banner. But I would rate Xenogears banner at like literally a 0 out of 10. It was as bad as they could ever make a banner. Um, and I think that they kind of like owe the community, or at least the people that pulled on it, like a huge apology. And I hope that they make it right when Xenogears comes back. You know, I hope that they buff the shit out of Id and Graph. I hope that they let you pull for Id and Graph at like normal rates, or just like roll them into the pool. I hope they have an Id and Graph like for like 5 coins just sitting in the shop as well. You know, or whatever, or even 3 coins or whatever. Because Faye and Ellie are probably going to be power crept by the time we get them anyway. And I hope they make up for it. But like this doesn't look that bad. Like I said, Gumi didn't do us any favors outside of like this right here. So what they're saying is for 36k you get a guaranteed one of the 2 units. Now that's pretty decent. The rest of it, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't like the STMR here being the katana that's only 230 attack power. The Dark Vision's katana is better than this. So that kind of sucks. I think they should have went a little bit harder in the paint one with this. Maybe like, I don't know, some kind of something. They should have done what they did with Chizuru. Instead of boost attack by 500, they should be boost attack by 1,000. I think that would have been perfectly fine. Boost attack by 1,000 for just 2B, and I think this is okay. Don't like this. This Trustmaster Award is insanely good, especially now that we have the Dark Vision's katana. Equip katana is awesome. It doesn't have LB damage, but it does have damage against human and machina for 50%. That's pretty awesome. And the card is another tricky one. I wish it wasn't locked to Nier units, but at least it's best in slot for Nier units. It's as good as Cog's card, I guess you would say. It's just going to be unfortunate that like this isn't usable on anyone else. However, the counter argument to that is you don't want it to be usable on everybody and have Dark Visions where like some people have literally 6 of this card, and it's on every unit, you know. So I think that's pretty much a break even. Then A2 similar, like I hope she's got better support. Again, Nier units only on this TMR, but it's your standard TMR with Omni Killer that like we got on like what Final Fantasy 9 units and some others. But her STMR is really good. This is a combination of like value memories and like any of the 100% TDH materia. So you'll want like a couple copies of these for sure. So 2 copies of A2 is actually really good because you're going to want 2 wills minimum, 1 for each unit. You're going to want 2 of these minimum, I think, just because they're good. You could probably get by with only 1 copy of 2B and just buy all fragments. Although, I'd want as many copies of this Executioner as possible. I'd want like at least 3 or 4 of these. So, extra ones wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't be blowing any STMR Moogles on her, because to get to EX2, get your STMR Moogle, dump it in, get your 1 katana, that's all you need. So, yeah. And thanks everybody out there for watching the YouTube version of this. There's not really much else to cover. If you want to watch me do my pulls, I will be live tomorrow doing my pulls. All my family is like in Florida and stuff. Or various other parts on vacation for Thanksgiving this year. And then like the other one side of my family that is in town, they're all spread out and kind of like not really doing much. They're, you know, like having small things. There's nothing. So I thought this would be the year where everybody got back together. And it turns out it's not. I'm sure that'll probably be different next month. But yeah, I'm just kind of staying at home. I'm having like a very small, very small just a normal home dinner tomorrow, and I will be online tomorrow. I'll be pulling tomorrow, probably as soon as like I've woken up and gotten everything oriented. So um, I don't know exactly when, but it's probably going to be early afternoon. Or actually, no. Let me scratch that. Let me say, like, let's see. World Cup will be over at what 4 p.m. Eastern for me. So, oh, I need my phone to check. Well, a little bit earlier than today, because you know, World Cup. So the World Cup games, if they hold standard to like the every day that they've been run so far, the last game will be over at 4 p.m. local time for me. So in Germany, that would be 10 p.m. You're on Central European. I'm on Eastern North America, so you're +6, I believe. Yeah, you guys are off of daylight savings time. We're off of daylight savings time. Yeah, so probably 10 p.m. Central European is when I'll go live. We'll probably fuck around for like 30 minutes first, and then I'll start ripping. Yeah. So 10 p.m. for you is around the time that I'll be pulling. So I know a lot of people are going to be doing family stuff tomorrow. I figure, hey, I don't have anything family to do. I'm just like me and my mom. We're just gonna have dinner, and then there's not gonna be much else going on. Um, unless we get like a random call from somebody that says, "Hey, come by and have." But everybody I know, our family's all gone. They're out of state. They're in different places over the country. So, um, yeah, I'm just gonna pull tomorrow and have a good time. We'll screw around on stream. We'll do some. We'll go up to floor 99 in Clash of Wills. We'll do some upgrades. We might have to farm some materials to upgrade some abilities. Obviously, we'll be doing the raid. We'll wreck the all the boss and all that. So yeah, that's gonna be what's happening tomorrow. So probably around 4 p.m. Eastern time, United States and Canada. Europe, it'll be like 9 UK, 10 Central Europe. So yeah, and you can come by, hang out live on Twitch, and we'll be doing the pulls then. We'll see how it goes. I am prepared to sink 100 and like 50 plus thousand if I have to get both to EX2. I'm hoping that I can get it done with a lot less. So we'll see how good the rates are. But yeah, and then you can always join me every week, Wednesday night for This Week in Brave Exvius, where we review everything that happened that week. I always send people to other places for news videos. People do news videos better than me. I always like to do like the recap for like the everyman and all that. But the problem is this is just too big of a news issue to talk about. Like there's no way we're gonna be able to talk about this or avoid this and not talk about it. So we're talking about it. Came off the back of a couple dead weeks in a row. So here we are. So all right. And then on Sunday, we will be back and we'll be playing Warhammer Darktide. I did see some people streaming Warhammer Darktide, which means that it is not under any kind of embargo until the game is officially released. So I will be streaming that on Sunday. I moved it to my SSD to hopefully get some better performance. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. However, it doesn't run very well. It's not running very well. I have a 3070, and I have a pretty decent build, and oh boy. But hopefully the gods will be aligned. The God Emperor will be aligned, and we will destroy the filthy Xenos heretics together with our fellow rejects in a search for cleansing our sins to the Emperor and all that. So yeah, tune in Sunday as well. Sunday night we're going to be playing. Sunday afternoon, Sunday night we're going to be playing Warhammer Darktide. So check me out there. If you're watching this on YouTube, link to the Twitch channel is down below. And on the Twitch page are all my links to everything and the schedule and all that. So appreciate everybody who watches on both ends. And we'll see you tomorrow right around 4-ish my time, Eastern, for Nier pulls. And hopefully the game is up by then. I don't want to jinx it. It's 12-hour maintenance, so it's supposed to be up by about noon. Assuming that they take 4 extra hours, the game should be up by 4. Whether the game's up or not by 4, we will go live, and then we'll just wait for it to come up. So if that happens, all right. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, guys, and I'm gonna edit this, upload it to YouTube, and then we'll see you guys. See you guys hopefully tomorrow. Happy holidays if we don't see you otherwise.